Most people have one really hot take. For some it might be political, for others it might be about religion, and some people might enjoy Captain Marvel. But I also have two really hot takes. Hot take number 1 is that Assassin's Creed 3 is actually a really solid game. And my second hot take is that cock and ball torture is something that everyone should try at least once in their life. But this isn't about that. This video is about Assassin's Creed 3, and more so Haytham Kenway, and why he's the best antagonist in the entire Assassin's Creed franchise. Now Ubisoft does know how to write some very good villains. But when it comes to the Assassin's Creed franchise, Ubisoft writers basically turn into the Game of Thrones final season writers and just give us the most mid villain they created, and it's really sad to see. I mean, if you ask most Assassin's Creed fans, most will say that the best villain is either in the Ezio trilogy or the Kenway Saga, which would also mean that we have not had an Assassin's Creed villain in the entire Xbox One, PlayStation 4 era that has topped the 360, PlayStation 3 era. That's some legitimate sad stuff. And Assassin's Creed Mirage is the only official game in the PS5 era, and I don't think anyone is putting the villains in that game anywhere close to guys like Haytham and Rodrigo Borgia. But I do think Roshan is actually really good in Mirage, but she's only the antagonist for the last little bit, and even that's debatable. But what actually makes Haytham the best antagonist in the entire franchise, and why do I see him over guys like Rodrigo and Cesare Borgia? Well, Haytham is literally in 3 games. He had a major role in Assassin's Creed 3, you literally play as him in the first 3 sequences. He had a major role in Assassin's Creed Rogue, and he even shows up in Assassin's Creed 4, for a little bit at least. So yeah, we literally see Haytham as a kid, and I do kind of see the Kenway Saga almost like the Star Wars movies, where Haytham and Anakin kind of cause everything, and Haytham is arguably the protagonist of the Kenway Saga, if you will. But I think one of the things that separates Haytham from all the other villains in Assassin's Creed is stuff like motives and philosophy. Haytham is clearly very different from a guy like Crawford Sterrick from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Like, that's something that Haytham would never do. He's not gonna do any actions that are unnecessary just because he wants to throw a hissy fit, like he's a 12-year-old who just found out his football team lost a match. Haytham is very calculated, and his motives don't seem evil. And one of the things that proves this is when you play Assassin's Creed 3 for the first time, you don't know that Haytham is a Templar, and you have no idea that you yourself are playing as the enemy. The game just drops that plot twist on you, and you're like, oh shit, I might suffer from brain damage. 10-year-old me watching this scene, I was like, damn, I'm never gonna forgive Ubisoft for playing with my emotions like this. No girl would ever break my heart as Ubisoft just did during this reveal. And I was right, because in the first many sequences as Haytham, there is no direct telling that he is a Templar. Sure, he doesn't have the white hood on, but neither did Ezio in the first many missions of Assassin's Creed 2, which was the only other game at that time where you aren't immediately dropped into the assassin robes. And Haytham's open-mindedness really does help him a lot of being seen as the good guy. And during this time in American history, and also then on, if you were white, being associated with a Native American wasn't a super swag thing to do. And after that, falling in love with a Native American, you better not show your face anywhere near George Washington and the homies at the bar. But Haytham did thug it out, so overall, Haytham in the first 3 sequences clearly isn't like the other Assassin's Creed villains. He's not headfirst into power, but most importantly, he doesn't have an ego, or at least not in early Assassin's Creed 3. I do think in Assassin's Creed Rogue, he does have a bit of a young ego, and I love it. I love the development we get. Obviously in Assassin's Creed 4, he's just a kid doing kid things. And there are books about Haytham, talking about him as a younger man. And then in Assassin's Creed Rogue, he's still fairly young. He's a sexy little millionaire Templar playboy, and he definitely has an ego. But then at the start of Assassin's Creed 3, when the assassins are defeated, thanks to Shay and the gang, Haytham is very open-minded, and that's it for the first 3 sequences. But then when you play as Connor, we constantly hear about Haytham, and Haytham's legacy, and what he's up to. And it's not like the other games. In the other Assassin's Creed games, you definitely know what the villain is doing throughout the story, sometimes by literally following them, which is a bit controversial. But you don't get that personal experience, because when you play as Haytham in the first sequences, and then you see him throughout the story, still making money moves, you get such a personal feeling towards that. The game is literally telling you that Haytham isn't an NPC, he's making big moves out there, and he's telling the world to get their money up and not their funny up, and it feels so grounded and real. That's why villains like Crawford Sterrick feel so empty, because even though he's making money moves, it doesn't feel like he is moving the plot that much forward. And then, what really makes Haytham so much personal, and the best Assassin's Creed villain of all time, are the missions with Connor. And I truly mean this. His intro in this entire scene is one of the best scenes in the entire franchise. I've spent days of my life re-watching the church scene. I also love how they meet each other in church, and the person that they are both hunting down is Benjamin Church. I see through you, Ubisoft. And this might sound like an unpopular opinion. This might sound like one of my cock and ball torture hot takes, but Connor and Haytham's dynamic is easily one of the best dynamics in the entire franchise. And I mean easily. Like, I honestly think it could be better than Ezio and Leonardo da Vinci's dynamic from AC2. Like, that's how good this dynamic is. It feels like Batman and Robin, and it's one of the few times in Assassin's Creed 3 where we actually get some funny moments. And you can tell that Haytham is loving it. Whenever Haytham talks to Connor, it's completely different than when he talks to Charles Lee. Like, I'm not saying Haytham wants to play catch with his son in his backyard on a hot summer day with his wife making milkshakes in the background, but you can genuinely tell he cares for Connor. And not just that, but he puts a lot of respect on Connor's name because Connor is a really impressive human. He's tall, strong, dark, and handsome. He's every TikTok girl's wet dream and every incel's nightmare. And Connor is very skilled and wanting to learn. And he does that by himself, or at least without Haytham's help. And it actually does feel heartbreaking when they are mad at each other because they are such a good duo, but their backstory is just so fucked up that the good times are not gonna last. And it's just heartbreaking to see that. Like, it gets me every time. The time we had as Haytham and Connor being the Batman and Robin of the American Revolution is one of the best runs in the entire franchise. It's just a complete blast to play these missions, and I'll always die on that hill. And there's a lot of Assassin's Creed theories out there. A lot of them are a bit weird, like the theory of Elise now being real in Assassin's Creed Unity, like come on. But one Assassin's Creed theory that I absolutely believe is that Haytham let Connor kill him. Haytham is in a really rough spot at the end of Assassin's Creed 3. He really cares for Connor, but Haytham still thinks that the Templars are right, and he thinks his ignorant stupid son doesn't know what he's doing and is screwing things up. So Haytham is just gonna stall Connor and injuring him so the Templars can get ahead a bit. But Haytham doesn't want to kill Connor, and he doesn't, and I find that so beautiful. And his death is so heartbreaking. Like, Haytham is one of the most skilled characters in all of the Assassin's Creed universe, but most importantly, Haytham is arguably the smartest character we play as in the entire Assassin's Creed franchise. So trust me, Haytham isn't overwhelmed by emotion to the point where he forgets that every assassin he's ever met has 2 hidden blades on their forearms. Haytham knows this, but he puts his guard down because he lets Connor kill him. A genuinely masterful scene. I love it. But one of the other big reasons that makes Haytham so great that I haven't talked about yet, like I said, he is one of the smartest people in the entire franchise, and he by far has the best explanation on the Assassin vs Templar conflict, or at least during his time. But yeah, Haytham is just levels above number 2. I still think number 2 is Rodrigo Borgia. I think Bassaman was trying to really good, but they're a bit unfair to use here. But I really hope that the next Ubisoft game isn't just some basic 2D villain, and we get a Haytham level villain. Like, I want to feel for the villain again, because everyone is the hero of their own story, and that's what Haytham embodies. And most villains in Assassin's Creed, they know they're evil. They know they're the villain, and I wish they would add more depth, like they did with the GOAT himself, Haytham Kenway. But yeah, like, subscribe, and peace.